Well, thanks for having us. It's a dual presentation. Myself, Paul Thatcher at GHDWoodhead, and Alex from Grimshaw.
Yep.
So we're going to present for a few minutes on the Wurun Senior Campus experience as a Architects Association. So a lot of things we didn't know starting out. We didn't know much about the site, a heavily contaminated old gasworks site. We had no real brief, no real budget, no real education brief, and no previous experience working on this site, and no real conception of what the overall precinct would become, because that work was being done by government authorities. But we did know a few things, Alex.
Yeah. So we knew that the site was really heavily contaminated. Probably one of the worst in Melbourne, and we knew that it was the coming together of two existing schools, so Fitzroy High School and Collingwood College, both using this campus. And we knew that it was the intersection of these two city grids that you can see on the screen there. And that our site, the first sort of cab off the rank for the gasworks development, was we kind of drew the short straw as the worst slither, really, that had to wrap around a pretty heavily trafficked intersection and with a sports court nestled in between. And we knew it was going to be a vertical campus.
So this was our opportunity to re-look at the notion of a vertical campus for a senior high school, whereas the traditional approach is to sort of stack an office floor type approach and then maybe carve an atrium or two out of the space, and then maybe cram some recreation space onto the roof, given that we don't have any ovals or outdoor space. We tried a different approach by establishing a ground level entry point, pedestrian scale massing of the building, and then proceeded to push back and terrace each floor plate subsequently to create a cascading terrace form, punctuated at the high end with two stacked courts internally and a rooftop court. So the idea is that these levels, this provided a direct connection from the internal learning area to the outdoor learning areas on every level. So each level had direct access in lieu of ovals on the ground. The stacked sports courts also are a unique response that allowed direct connection from the building learning areas into active recreation zones. So the idea is to create this framework for a very diverse pedagogical offering that promotes health and well-being, access to abundant natural light, fresh air, city views, greenery, always prioritising the student experience.
And it's 6 levels and a fully walkable building, students are discouraged from using lifts unless they're mobility impaired. So getting the vertical circulation was critical. Instead of a single central atrium with a winding stair, we made a really early decision to spread the circulation route out along the length of the building and try to create a bit of a journey as you wind up that stair. So that primary circulation route then kind of winds in and out and under and through different active learning spaces, and you get these really great glimpses of learning in action and people circulating. That journey that you're on provides you these really great penetrating views that cut through different floor levels and different teaching spaces and different teaching disciplines. It's kind of hard to understand short of being in the building yourself, so it's easiest, I suppose, to understand that journey in section. You can see the orange stair winding up, and another wayfinding tool that we employed was to pick an identity colour per level, which you can see there in a pinboard material, and those colours were picked out from the Manigum new growth, the Wurun tree, which is a totemic species to the Wurundjeri Wurun, and it's the inspiration for the school name. And that stair, that sort of journey object, it's a really graphic element, and we utilised colour and transparency and layering to make sure that it was prominent but unobtrusive and really intuitive way to experience the building.
So a little bit about the educational idea behind the school. I guess the key idea was to bring together two different cultures. There was the Fitzroy High School and the Collingwood College, and they were together forming this third campus as a senior campus. So key to their brief was to create push the idea of self-directed interdisciplinary project-based learning, shifting away from the traditional rigid timetable models and to allow more self-directed learning approach, and also encourage engagement with the neighbourhood, creating business, tertiary, entrepreneurial hubs in the area. So we need to therefore allow for a wide diversity of student needs, educational needs, and create those flexible, multi-purpose, remanageable learning spaces to also facilitate their more tertiary aligned program for the senior high school. So that device that Alex spoke about of the orange brick road winding up through the building, together with that high degree of transparency and visual connection between spaces, was the idea was to link those discipline areas and encourage that interdisciplinary thinking and learning on display, and really focusing on the student cohort on unknown future.
For us, the sustainability of this project starts on the ground that the building's on. The whole precinct is all about remediating this really contaminated site and bringing life and a new community into this unlocked pocket of Melbourne. And it was a priority to promote social and physical and emotional well-being as a critical sustainability tool. So our outdoor terraces, we built up these deep planter beds so that we could access really significant planting, light and air, and positioned breakout and teaching spaces directly onto those terraces so that we can hopefully promote incidental use of those spaces frequently throughout the day. We worked with our engineers to distribute mini plant throughout the levels of the school and freed up a bunch of space on the rooftop so that we were able to include a full-size, competition-size court on the roof for active outdoor recreation. The façade, beg your pardon, is super performative, sort of modelled within an inch of its life with our sustainability engineers, and angles of the fins respond directly to the angles of the façade and create these really beautiful light-filled interior spaces, minimising glare and heat gain. And our 2 indoor courts are fully naturally ventilated, the whole building's gas-free and net zero carbon enabled.
So we'll wind up now, but it was a great journey. 2 architects, 2 schools, worked hand in hand with the authorities, the education department, the schools at all levels, the student body, etc., to bring together what we think is a really successful project, and not about architecture per se so much, but about people and community.